Online credit repair business. In this video, let's talk about how you need to understand the federal laws that regulates the business. What is federal law? Federal law is one of the laws that everybody follows in the United States. There's a state-by-state law that you also need to look into, but federal law is one of the most important things as well that you have to look into. Now, in looking into federal law, which specifically do you have to look into? You have to look into CROA. What is CROA? Credit Repair Organization Act, in which you can look this up through the Federal Trade Commission website. You have to understand who is CROA, or what is Credit Repair Organization Act. What is Credit Repair Organization Act? It is an act that regulates credit repair companies, meaning to say this law has a list of guidelines that you as a credit repair company needs to understand. What are those things that you need to understand? Number one, you have to make sure that you don't advise any customers to lie. Never advise anyone to lie. Do not use any fake identification or identity. Never use fake identities. Do not misrepresent your services. Never misrepresent your services. And you need to know and understand as well what are the things that you need to include in your contract. Now, you may say that there are certain things that your state law advises. Now, do I have to also look into federal law? Yes, you have to actually look into both and combine both of the regulations, or combine both of the laws and combine both of the requirements. Now, let's talk about them one by one. First, let's talk about you cannot advise them to lie. Why is that? Why should you not advise someone or a customer to lie? Because if you start off the wrong foot, it would definitely bring you down the hole. Meaning to say, you won't be able to really do the right way of disputing if you're going to start lying at the very beginning. You have to always use facts. Whenever you start or build disputes, you have to use facts. Meaning to say, you have to get your clients involved in order for you to really understand what's within their credit report, what's the details, what's the history of certain accounts or any items found in their credit report. You have to start your dispute right. Now, connecting that from the previous slide, always use facts. As soon as you gather facts and information from your client, you have to start your disputes right. You cannot say that it's not my account. Well, in fact, the client or the customer mentioned it's their account. That's already a lie. You have to start the right way. You cannot dispute an accurate item if it's not inaccurate. It's not good to work that way. You have to dig deep and look for errors. That's why you have to understand what is your guidelines. You have to learn to really understand credit reports in order for you to start things right. Now, you have to also set the proper expectations and right expectations to your client or customer. Meaning to say, talk to them and let them know that this is basically what they should be expecting within your services. These are the things that you could do for them. Now, never guarantee anything. Never tell them that let's work on your accounts this way, let's just claim that it's not yours. Well, in fact, it's their debt. So you have to make sure that you are basing details from facts, and you have to make sure that you are letting your client in on what they're actually enrolling for. Now, you cannot use a fake identity. When we talk about using fake identity, never ever use or let your clients go on starting with a fake identity. Never let your customer go the wrong path. You are there providing services to actually guide them. You are there to actually follow through guidelines based on CROA. You have to dispute the right way. Always go back and review your laws. If in any case that you actually got stuck in a certain path, just go back and review any regulations, any compliance policies listed down in your federal law as well as your state law. Discuss with your customer. Always do discuss things with your customer to set proper expectations and let them know that you're not going to be using any fake identity. So you have to actually talk through with your client and customer so that they completely understand. Now, next is you should not misrepresent your services. Meaning to say, you should actually let your clients know what, when, who, where, and why. Meaning to say, what do you actually offer? What is your service? When do you actually provide the services? To whom are you rendering the service for? Where do you do it? And why are you rendering this type of service? What is your main goal? You have to know your role and understand what your services are. What's the capabilities of the business that you're actually enrolling yourself into or getting yourself into. That's why you have to understand your federal law in order for you to know what should be your capacities and capabilities within this type of industry. Next is you have to explain to your clients or customers what do you offer. Just like what I've mentioned, you have to let them know what, why, where, when, how. All of this you have to set expectations with your clients and explain to them thoroughly what they're enrolling into. You have to base your services through the guidelines, meaning to say, read through the law and base whatever services you can offer within the guidelines. Never offer a certain service that's outside of the guidelines. Everything has to be within guidelines or within compliance. Now, whenever you start your business, you always have to plan your business ahead of time. That's important. Plan your business ahead of time. Meaning to say, plan out what could be the possibilities within your business. And in doing so, one of the things that you'll actually get to go through creating and preparing would be your contracts. Now, preparing contracts could be tedious at the very beginning since you would have to really prepare something with clauses. In the Client Dispute Manager software, we have some sample contracts available, but you still need to modify them based off your state law and federal law. That is important because there are certain clauses and disclosures that CROA and your state law actually requires for you to include. You have to know what you need to include. That's why you have to look into them. So you have to know what are the things, clauses and disclosures that you have to include there. What should be your terms? Like how would you actually be charging? What's the reason of you processing things? What's within the scope of your service? How do you explain this to the client within the contract? All this you have to know. You have to completely know it from the laws. Follow the guidelines in creating your contracts and you won't go wrong. Always be compliant and include important clauses and disclosures required by both your state law as well as the CROA or federal law. Now, thank you so much for reaching the end of this video, and since you do, we are giving away a free step-by-step guide on how to start and run a credit repair business that's only dedicated for you, which is the Starting a Credit Restoration Business Blueprint. It's a guide to anyone who's looking to start up this type of industry. Now, in order for you to claim your free step-by-step guide, just click on the link in the description box below.